Welcome back to Retro ReWire. My name is JJ. It looks like I'm out in the middle of nowhere, but that's not actually true. We're out in the field because we're going to be doing a store tour, and we're out in Gunma, and this is Guruguru Adventure. One of the cool things about this place is not that it's super sunny, it's that when you come here, you're going to be greeted by this big dragon, and number two is that this place is open 24 hours, 365 days a year. Let's go ahead and go inside and check things out. Now, you're gonna be, as soon as you walk into this place, it's gonna be sensory overload in a good way. It's loaded with games and figures, all sorts of cool little things. So let's make our way inside. And one of the things that we wanna do right off the bat is we wanna hand sanitize. This is a COVID world, so we'll do that. And as you can see, these are the games. We got a number of display cases. We got new games like a PlayStation 5. We got retro games, we got handheld games, and they pretty much are stocking everything under the sun here. We're talking about 3DS, Switch, DS, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, 3, 2, 1, they got it all. And as you can see here, this is the retro gaming section, one of my favorite sections, and we're definitely gonna take a look at both present, modern day games, as well as retro games. They even have a dedicated retro game display case, and we're definitely gonna get a closer look at that. And then we have like a live play area. We got a clone console here playing some Super Mario Bros. 3. Then we have, look at this little Famicom mini controller, kind of cool to see. And let's go ahead and go down some of these game aisles. I wanna show you guys something. Just gonna grab one of these games off the case, or off the stacks here. This is Doraemon on N64, and let's get a closer look at this. And as you can see, this is their pricing. A lot of the games are priced, if you buy one, it's $4.80. If you get two, $7.80. If you get three, it's $10. And some of these games are actually complete in box, and they have a big assortment. But let's go ahead and go over here. We got, look at all these PlayStation 2 games. Look at all these Super Famicom games. Anyhow, I think you get the idea. We're gonna take a closer look at some of these games. So let's go ahead and get right to it. All right, y'all, so this is gonna be part one, and we're gonna focus on the modern games. Part two, we're gonna take a look at the retro games that Guruguru Adventure has to offer. And here we have a beautiful looking Xenomorph. Definitely would like one of these figures for my collection in the future, but definitely a cool looking figure. And anyhow, let's make our way through some of these display cases. As you can see, all sorts of cables and accessories, and you know, you could easily spend like an hour just looking at everything that they have in these display cases. Now, mind you, I recorded this footage back in February, and these PlayStation 5s are kind of priced with the demand during that time when the PlayStation 5 was a bit more scarce in Japan. But definitely cool to see that they had some, and it was actually my first time seeing one in shop. As I mentioned, they were pretty scarce. And I also want to take some time to kind of thank the management and staff of Guruguru Adventure for letting me film, as they normally do not allow any filming in their shop. So a big thank you, and definitely appreciative of this opportunity. But anyhow, we have the Neo Geo Mini for a $59.80, freaking awesome little mini system, and it's always nice to see a fat stack of Dreamcast controllers in the shop. It still lives, the Dreamcast. But all sorts of controllers, and the PlayStation Move controller for the PS4. Now, be mindful that it is not compatible with the PS3. They kind of changed the controller and I guess the firmware or something on the controller, but they're not compatible. But here's the timeless and classic controller, the Gamecube controller. Definitely one of my favorites, and it's so comfy. As is the N64 controller. I definitely prefer the Cube, but the N64 is definitely comfortable despite its quirky design. And then we have the Trigger Master for the PlayStation 4. You can deck out your DualShock. And of course, the PlayStation Vita. I definitely would like to add a slim PS Vita to my collection in the future. There's one back there, that blue one, for $88, which isn't a bad price, especially complete in the box. Or at least it includes the box. It might not actually be complete. And then we have a PlayStation Mini, a bit of a controversial system, but one that can be modified if you're not satisfied with the games that are included. And then I gotta say, you know, this blue PSP, I've seen it numerous times and I filmed it numerous times, and man, is it a mean looking machine. Definitely like that blue color. And you know, it's always nice to see like these memory cards. As you can see here, it's like 1 gig for $2. That's not too bad of a price, but if I read that correctly. But you know, it's always nice to see the old school memory cards. But anyhow, let's go ahead and make our way to the next case. As you can see, a bunch of Switch accessories and a couple of amiibos. That Bayonetta back there looks pretty slick. And you know, thinking about it now, I should have picked that up. Freaking love Bayonetta. And one day I'll get me a copy of Bayonetta 2. Then we got some Pikachu headphones, and then Ring Fit Adventure, which was quite popular in Japan, and for a time it was a bit hard to get a hold of, which is kind of funny, you know. It's like the Wii Fit all over again. And speaking of the Wii, let's make our way into the Wii Accessories. This is a console that just had tons and tons of accessories. And we have a Wii U for $69.80. Wii was a bit of a failure, but I definitely had fun while I owned one. And these Wiimotes, man, they look so freaking awesome. I'm not really a collector of Wiimotes, but I definitely would like to have at least one of those. Maybe the Toad one. Toad's a pretty cool dude. But just tons and tons of Wii accessories. Actually, there is one controller for the Wii that I would like to add to my collection, and I'm going to show it to you here in a sec. Well, after this bit. The Wii U Pro Pad is actually a very comfortable controller, but that's not the one that I would like to add to my collection. The one that I would like to add is this here, the Super Famicom Classic controller for the Wii, and it's priced at $22.80. Back in the day, this actually was a lot more expensive, but the price seemed to have gone down, as you can see, and they have 2 of them, as well as a couple of racing wheels. But here's a system that, man, oh man, I've been getting back into it, the 3DS. I don't really care for the 2DS. You know, this is kind of a cool looking color, this purple one, but the main appeal with the DS family, especially the 3DS consoles, is the 3D feature, at least for me. And I like to play a lot of the games with the 3D just cranked. But I gotta say, this Minecraft limited edition 2DS does look pretty mean. It's complete in the box for $128. As does this 3DS, that color scheme, that little neon green and black. That's pretty cool looking, actually. But my favorite iteration of this handheld is going to be the original 3DS. You know, followed closely by the regular new 3DS. But I definitely like the original. And I just crank the 3D slider to the max, because that's the way that we should play, or not that we should play, but the way that I like to play, rather. And then below all that 3DS goodness is a PlayStation 5. They had quite a few of them in stock. But anyhow, since we're on the topic of 3DS, let's go ahead and check out some 3DS games, and they had a ton of these games. Now, I'm pretty much almost complete with my 3DS collection, despite, you know, being a system that I really, really like. I definitely want to kind of control the amount of games that I get for it. But one that I do recommend is the Street Fighter 4 3D edition, Star Fox 64 3D. And here's one that I definitely would like to add to my collection, which is Sonic Lost World for the 3DS. I heard a lot of good things about it, and definitely seems interesting. And then we have a couple of One Piece games. And this Unlimited World is one that I played on the PlayStation Vita, but I'm kind of interested and would like to play some of these for the 3DS, mainly because of the 3D appeal. I just want to see how these games look with the 3D just cranked. And they had a ton of like Pokemon games and whatnot, but I do like that they had this little shrine to like the Zelda games. Now, I do want to get Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, the 3DS versions. I definitely will get those. And then they had these, the DS iterations for $4.80. Now, mind you, there will be a language barrier. You will miss out on some of the story if you can't, if you don't understand Japanese. But, the gameplay will be intact, and for $4.80, it could be something to adorn your shelves with. But I don't know. They seem pretty cool, those DS versions of Zelda. Got some Dragon Quest games, and then just a ton of Pokemon games. Now, I'm going to admit it, I don't know. I know next to nothing really about Pokemon, but I know it's a insanely popular series, a franchise. There's just tons and tons of games. Now, a lot of these are just going to be in Japanese, but if you're just a Pokemon collector and don't really care, Guruguru Adventure definitely has you covered with all the Pokemon games there is. And actually, I did hear, I looked it up online, and I believe, I didn't get all the details, of course, but some of the 3DS versions of some of the Pokemon games on the 3DS do support full English language options. So, that might be something worth looking into if you want to get some of these Pokemon games at a more reasonable price. Because I know in North America they're definitely a lot more expensive. But anyhow, that's enough Pokemon. There's Pokemon for days in this shop. But let's go ahead and continue with the 3DS handheld games, and it just doesn't end, man. There's just so many. And as you can see there on the bottom, they have Metal Gear Solid 3D, and that's one that I'm currently playing, and man, it's freaking awesome. The frame rate suffers a bit, but definitely a game that I would recommend to any action or Metal Gear fan. And here's another one that I'm kind of interested in playing, which is Rodea, the Sky Soldier by Yuji Naka, Mr. Sonic the Hedgehog. I actually have this for the Wii and the Wii U, but I never really gave it its due, and I'm kind of curious into playing it on the 3DS. If I could find it at a reasonable price, definitely would like to get a North American copy of the game. But this is pretty much the end of the 3DS games, and it just kind of starts fusing with DS games, as you can see here. And Mario Kart DS, look at this price, $4.80. Yeah, the text is going to be in Japanese, but it shouldn't really matter, because this is a game that's all about the gameplay, and that's not something that's gonna hold you, that's language is not gonna hold you back with that. Let's just push the buttons and go. But I guess we'll head her back to the 3DS section, because I do want to show this Luigi's Mansion 2, $12.80, and this is actually one that I would definitely want to pick up. Now, unfortunately, this does not support English, I believe. But the World Edition, the reprint, is definitely about $20, and definitely a game that I'm going to be adding to my 3DS collection. But anyhow, here are the DS games. I wish I could show these in more detail, but as you can see, there's just a ton of games. And if I did that, this video would be a 3-hour epic. But just a ton of games. But I will show this. I'm going to show you guys this. You already know, Biohazard Deadly Silence. Definitely an awesome game, and one that I recommend. And that pretty much does it for DS, 3DS, but I do want to end that with this, a little dispensing machine that they had outside, 200 yen, and then you get like a mystery game, so that would be definitely fun to play. But we're going to make our way here to the Sony handhelds, and as you can see, just a ton of PlayStation Portable games. Here's one, Parappa the Rapper. Never actually played this on the PlayStation 1, and I believe this one does have English language support. So maybe one day when I get around to it, I'll get down on some Parappa the Rapper. And here's one that, Mega Man X Maverick Hunter, which is a kind of like a remake of the original game. I have actually never seen a physical copy of the game until I came here to Guruguru Adventure. And in retrospect, I should have picked that up. huge fan of Rockman, Mega Man, and I kind of let that one slip. But it just goes on and on. A lot of sports games, a lot of novel games, a lot of racing games, action games, role-playing games. They pretty much had it all for the PSP. And not just games. I'll show you a few of the UMD movies that they had in stock, which is kind of a forgotten and dead format, a little bit obscure, and I know there's a few collectors out there. As you can see here, we have the late DMX, may he rest in peace, with Jet Li, and this movie was released in the States under the Cradle to the Grave name. And I think I saw that in the theater way back in the day. Kind of an interesting little flick. Then we have Harry Potter. But a lot of UMD movies there. And then here's a game that kind of pushed the PSP to its limits, which is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII. Now, of course, this one is going to be in Japanese. But I definitely would like to play that sometime in the future. Maybe I'll pick up a copy off of PSN if it's available. Which, if you haven't heard, the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita stores are going to remain open, which is awesome news. And speaking of the Vita, here we go, Vita Games. Japan was definitely crazy for the Vita, and I definitely would like to get a physical copy of Ridge Racer. Even though it's a stripped down version and some of the menus are kind of hampered by the touch controls. But as you can see, they had a copy of Killzone there for the PlayStation Vita, and that one does support full English. So there is a few Vita games that do support full-on English. I believe Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified does not, though. Typically the COD games don't have any English language options in Japan. Here's one that wasn't released in the States for the Vita, unfortunately, which is Catherine Full Body. I have the vanilla version on the PlayStation 3, and then, I don't know, maybe if I can find a pretty good deal, I'll pick it up on the Switch. But the good old PlayStation Vita with its Digimon games. No Pokemon games, but they do have the Digimon games. Which for some people, you know, those are just as fun. But I would like to play that Dragon Quest Heroes. Seems pretty interesting. Soul Sacrifice was another interesting game released for the unit. A lot of good stuff here for the PlayStation Vita, though. And then we'll make our way to the final section of PlayStation Vita games. Some of these games have been rising in value, actually, especially in North America. Here in Japan, they're, you know, between $5 and $30. Here's one, Biohazard Revelations. I do own a digital copy of this, and this is not really a good port. But if you're a collector of Resident Evil, then by all means. And then Blaze Blue, pretty good price for this one. And this one is actually a pretty looking game. But then we have Kenshiro, Fist of the North Star. He's gonna guide us into the more of the modern consoles here. We have a 360, PlayStation 3. And before we take a look at those games, let's take a look at Raiden here as he looks over the limited edition sets that they had on hand. And some of them were actually pretty tempting, I gotta say. I'm not sure what's included with the Persona 5 limited edition, but as you can see down here, we have one of my favorite fighting series. We have Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate. Now, if you pick this up, there's actually a free update. After you update, it'll upgrade the game to Last Round. And as you can see, pretty interesting limited edition items with that set. I'm not sure what's included with the Blue Dragon there. As you can see, there's not much information. But this one here actually includes two little figures with Metal Gear Rising. And then this one here has a couple art books. And this was actually a pretty heavy set. And not too overpriced, actually. Pretty accessible. Here's one, Lollipop Chainsaw Valentine's Day Edition. Now, I have the standard premium edition. This one includes like a DVD as well as some DLC outfits, but that DLC might be expired by now. And then we have Eco and Wander and the Colossus, the limited box, which includes a novella, a book. And then here's one that I actually pre-ordered way back in the day, the Biohazard HD remaster, which includes a pretty cool map of the mansion. And a decent selection of 360 games and PS3 games. They had a ton. And I'm just going to kind of glide over this area just because they had quite a bit of stuff. And it's just kind of hard to document everything. But earlier I mentioned that I'm on a 3DS gaming binge. Well, the same is true with the PS3. Currently picking up quite a few titles. But definitely one of my favorite all-time systems, the PlayStation 3. But anyhow, here we have PlayStation 4, and I'm just gonna again continue to glide through this area so you guys can get a little bit of sense of the store layout and just see how large their PS4 selection is. And a lot of these games do support English language options, and there are a few websites that kind of give specific information on which do and which don't. And I think in the future I'll make a video and I'll just show all the games that I know of that have English language options, as there is quite a few. And of course we got some PlayStation 5 games, and then here we have a few PS3 games, which we have the standard Biohazard HD remaster, which, the PlayStation 3, they only run in 720p, yeah, but it's also the only system that got HD, or the remake, as well as 0 in their, standalone physical copies. So if you're a collector, now you know. And of course, we have this Switch. Definitely would like to play the Metro series. I actually picked up, I forget which one, but I picked up one on the PlayStation 3. That's pretty bad that I can't remember, but I'll definitely get around to it in the near future and playing it. And then we have Blair Witch. This was originally launched first on the Xbox One, but now, as you can see, it's available on the Switch and I believe the PlayStation 4. And Doom, that's a game that I definitely would like to pick up for the Switch. And then here we have like the final section of Switch games, and here's one, Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne, which will be releasing in North America very soon, and when it does, I'm definitely going to pick up a copy. But here we have some controllers. But anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys another area of the store that you might find interesting, and then we'll wrap up the video.
Alright guys, so as you can see, this is one of the live play areas, and what they have set up here is the newest Smash Bros game on the Nintendo Switch, I believe. I believe that's what it is. I'm not too familiar with the series, but anyhow, let's go ahead and check this out. I'm gonna pick up the GameCube controller, and one of the cool things is, after, you're gonna spend some time if you come here, so you can think about some of the purchases, sit down and relax and game as you think about it. And as I said, I'm not too familiar with this series, but since I'm not a coward, let's go ahead and go dive in deep and see what happens. Look at all these characters. I'm a big Sonic. Gekuga. I don't know who that is. Okay. Oh God. Look at that. Oh geez. Anyhow, you get the idea. Terrible player. This is not really my forte of a game, but it's cool that they have a section like this. Anyhow, let's go ahead and continue and check and exploring Guruguru Adventure.
All right, y'all, so this is pretty much it for part 1. In part 2, we're gonna take a look at retro games, so definitely keep a lookout for that. And I just want to give another thank you to the staff and management of Guruguru Adventure. Thank you for letting me film. And as always, please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Ciao.